Hey guys, a lot of people come up to me on the street, and they say, hey, the black gnat. Now notice I'm leaving the tag. What did you do during the hackle crisis of 2011? And I tell them I hunkered down in my house and I tied Comparaduns. And this is the light Cahill Comparadun. It's light Cahill refers to the color. This thread is light Cahill, or Cahill. I don't know. It's 8/8/0. So I learned at 8/0, so I'm just gonna keep saying that. Plus I like saying aught. It's 8/0 to do that, and then yeah, that's the name of the dubbing too. It's called Light Cahill, LT period CAHILL, named after, of course, the famous general in the invasion of Grenada, Lieutenant Cahill. Actually, he became a general later. At the time, he was but a lieutenant. Okay, so now, sadly, I am sad to report you have to use Microfibbets in this pattern, which I detest, except for the beer that I get to drink. So shank length, right? And tie those in. We're going to split them again, just like we did with the trico thorax that we tied. Okay, it's back. My hulking type, well. Alright, so now notice how few materials I end up using here. Two, so far what? Thread, Microfibbets, a vise, and a hook. And honestly, if a vise holds a hook, it's a good vise, in my firm opinion. And I, for whatever reason, got suckered into thinking that, this isn't a bad vise at all, but for whatever reason, I thought, I would need rotary tying for some reason, and I don't, so, for anything. But I listened. I'm a, what would you say? I'm a, crummy consumer. So or I guess maybe not a bright consumer, a thoughtful consumer. Not as DIY and cool as I thought I was. So, okay, so we're at what? 1/3 back, 2/3 forward. Now you get what's called, it's billed often these days as Comparadun hair. It's I've got bleached Comparadun hair here. So it looks like it's like a patch of elk hair, except it's very fine, and it has a tendency to spin. And in the corner of my eye, I see my cat, and the cat looks like it's going to strike. That's more of an it, because he's a Soviet water cat. So just get a little tiny, little bundle of hair there, less than you would get for like an elk hair caddis or something like that. Which I don't know if we've tied those. We will. Certainly. And here's a thing you can have, but I don't, just because it takes forever, and it ruins my fun. And what's the point if it's ruining your fun? Is you can use a hair stacker, which I've got one over there, and I'm looking at it, and I don't see any reason to bring it out. But some people insist on those. I guess if you're tying for prizes or something, you could use your hair stacker. And I cut the butts too, so they're easier to work with, right? Now we'll lay this against the shank too, my little clump of hair here, and that should be about shank length as well. So one thing I do here, since deer hair has a tendency to spin, is I put a loop around it like that first, right, and then bring it down to the shank. And then, really cram it down there, right? Tight wraps. you know, be careful with the torque of the thread, otherwise you will end up spinning your deer hair. You'll have a muddler Comparadun. Alright, so now with the butts, being of course careful not to get your microfibbets in there too, cut at sort of like a 45-degree angle where you tie it in, and this way you'll get sort of a naturally tapering mayfly body eventually when we get to that part, but you're going to want a really skinny thing. So now you can see it spun, dang it. So what I'm going to do is bring it back like that and build a thread dam in front of it, and that'll hold it in place. I think you can probably see what I'm doing there. I'm right, and you know, we'll come back at that with some dubbing in a second, but for the moment just to hold it there so that we can secure this element. Yeah, no, you know, no big deal for right now. It's not a thing. And you know, you'll have some stray things flying around. It's all right. We'll trim it later. All right. So now we dub, and dubbing's sort of a fun thing. You know, this is what separates the little kids from the big kids, is how well you dub. And what I do is I take about half of what I think I'm going to need, right? And remember, you can add more later. It's like salt, kind of. I had a few like clam linguinis ruined that way, but probably that much at most. That may even be too much. Skinny, skinny profile. Skinny mayfly profile. You want. That was the music that I chose to accompany. It goes da 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 do do. It's electronica, EDM. Okay, so now tightly dubbed, and then just you know, bring it on forward, and inevitably you will hit. Now some guys like to, and it's turning out mine is this way, roll it so tight that it looks like almost like a ribbing on the, you know, like a natural. And mine's just turning out that way. I didn't do it on purpose. But if you want to do that, that's fine. Alright, so now we're coming up on the, you know, sort of the body part. See how it just sort of nicely gets up on there and makes a mayfly type body? Then you come around to the front. Two. And you know what? That's it, guys. That's it. You sort of, you splay this out, make it look like, you know, half a sunburst, or so it looks something like either that or all the way like that. Whatever you like, doesn't matter. And then finish it. So mainly, you know, this is what I wanted to. The thing about this fly is it's great. It does very well in the water. I think because the body sits low in the water. I'm pretty sure that's what it is. And it's inexpensive. You don't have to have hackle for it. So this is perfect for somebody who's just, you know, starting out. And you can tie this in every color of dubbing you have, every color of thread. And it won't end up, you know, setting you back. What? I don't know how much a rooster's going for these days, but it seems to me, I bought mine, and this is back when it was still available. Like my grade 2, my silver, was it was like 99 bucks a pop for the chest. So yeah, so you're saving yourself that. The Comparadun hair costs $6 even, and thread is I think $1. Hooks are about $5. Vices you can get for about $10. As much as